Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Titan Chain snow tire chains with twisted link and cams here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So this is going to be a very nice way of giving you guys that traction control you're looking for. Now what's great about twisted link, they're going to put you right in that great medium to heavy duty range. And what's really nice about them, we don't have any V-bar support links on it. So these guys are going to be road safe, definitely going to be a lot easier to throw in your garage and actually get moving comparatively to those V-bars who can really start doing a number on a cement, garage floor, anything like that. They're really going to start tearing through it. So what I like about these guys, kind of getting that best of both worlds kind of maneuver there with your links, as you are getting a little bit more bite through that snow and ice compared to just your normal chains without being too aggressive to the things underneath it. Now we are also having a ladder style chain on that. What that means, we're having these positions here in which we're having that big gap between our chains. So what this is really nice for is getting great start and stop maneuver capabilities. We're really going to feel it as we're driving down the road, and to that end, we're really going to feel it as we make our left and our rights. So what ends up happening, you have to kind of overcome those hills and valleys every time you try to make your turn. So you lose a little bit as you accelerate through that turn, and just losing a little bit on that turning radius is definitely something you're going to run into. Now if you're comparing this to like a diamond style chain, those tend to get you a little bit better coverage, and again, losing that kind of hills and valley technique. However, a little bit worse for your start and stop maneuver, and I think that's one reason these guys are excellent. Definitely does a great job of getting you that traction control you're looking for in that snow and ice. Now to that end as well, we are going to have a low carbon steel construction on here. To that, if you guys do have any kind of corrosive elements on there, it's really going to start doing a number on it. Highly recommend spritzing down your chain, especially when you're done getting through all that muck and mire. We got all those chemicals off of there. That's going to be great. And especially for long-term storage, a little oil and grease on these chains can go a long way of making sure they're ready the next season that we need them. Now before we get in our install, there are going to be a couple things we have to get out of the way, primarily where we have this on our Jeep Gladiator. So we are going to have a four-wheel drive vehicle. That means we could just do ourselves a favor, grab two pairs of chains and throw one on the front and the back. That's always the safest option. If you're asking me though, predominantly putting it in the front is going to be great. You have your steering up here in the front, and secondly, as you go to stop, that weight of your vehicle is going to shift forwards to the front of your vehicle, and that's why we decided to throw it here on our front wheel. The other thing is we do have our tire size, which is going to be a 255/70 R18 tire. Let's make sure we're putting our own tire size into the fit guide here at etrailer.com. That way we make sure we are getting the right fit for us. Well, what's awesome about these guys too, we are going to have those cams. What I love about that, make sure that it's nice and tight here on our wheel and makes our install just a little bit easier. Why don't we go ahead and see how we can get it here in our vehicle. To begin our installation, what we want to do is just lay out our chains just like so. What we're looking for here is any kind of binds or kinks that our chains might have had while in storage. Now, a lot of times they just kind of need to be walked out on themselves. Sometimes your hooks kind of get caught. That's really easy to walk out. The big thing we need to take note of though as well is to make sure our cams are towards the outside of our wheel, and secondly, that they're all the way open. That's really easy to do by just simply making sure you have them slotted correctly. And the last important thing to take note of here is making sure our hard points of contact are facing away from our tire. What do I mean by that? Well, basically where this hook kind of bends itself over the rest of our chain, we want to make sure those guys aren't interacting with our wheel. And because we're going to be setting this on our tire, we actually want it facing towards the sky here today. But we just need to bring ourselves to the middle of our chain and begin to set it on our wheel. We just simply want to bring ourselves to the middle of our chain. I like to kind of wing out my arms a little bit too. I just find it makes it a little easier not to interact with my rim. And then just gently set these guys across our wheel here. Make sure they're fitting comfortably. And I kind of like to just check it here too. Make sure I'm trying to stay flat and level with each one of my chains. And then just kind of making sure it's bending itself here correctly. And now we do need to bring ourselves to the other side of our wheel to make our first connection. Now that we are here on the back side of our tire, we need to make our connection. To do so, we're going to take our hook and our extra chains and just set it in place. For me, it looks like I'm going to be able to get to about our 4th chain from the start here to the very end. Now as I do that, I am going to be checking my connection, making sure that it's not going to be too shallow or too wide. Now that is looking pretty good at this stage too. We are going to leave these chains just like we see them. However, once we are confirmed to fit and we know we have our little bit of extra chains, we want to come back and remove them. That way they're not flopping around, getting caught or anything, or of course just add in an annoying rattle. So again, let's make sure we get that front connection made first. That way we know we have the necessary length, but let's remember to come back and clip them up. Now that our rear connection is made, we need to make our front. We simply take our cam lever here, take our extra chain, set it in place, and then bend it back onto itself, trying to get that to fit correctly. Let me go ahead and see if I can't get that guy out of the way just a little bit more. That way it can go in nice and flush, just like so. And then we need to make our back connection there with our chain. Now, as it stands, we are just a little loose, right? But we need to take our included tool and start tightening up our cams. We can simply insert it here into a middle position of our cams and begin to tighten all of them up. Rechecking our chain as we go, making sure it doesn't want to follow itself out. And at this point, I think we are actually in a pretty good position. As I go around, I'm not having any place where there's any gaps. It is feeling nice and secure on there. So I think I'm gonna be okay not getting this last little cam, as we are nice and tight here on our wheel. The one last thing to keep in mind for your installation, make sure we are getting rid of our extra little chains here and in the back. That way, we don't have any bad interaction, and we're being nice and safe on those roads. Otherwise, I think we're nice and installed, ready to rock and roll. Well, as you guys saw, that install really doesn't take too much time to get. In fact, the one thing with it, really love those cams. If they weren't there, we'd have to give ourselves a rubber tensioner. So I really like the fit that we're getting here today. Again, we do find ourselves on the underside of our vehicle, but that's something we're gonna kind of run into with our Gladiator. All the chains that are ready for these guys are just a little bit bigger, a little bit heftier, and they take just a little bit more to actually get them installed. So all in all, really not the worst chain that I've actually put on here on the Gladiator today, which I do love to see. Now it is gonna come with a canvas bag. Those canvas bags can break down really quickly. One thing I always suggest, maybe find yourself a small tote to actually store your chains in. That makes it a little easier to keep them well throughout the off season as well. But overall, guys, I really do think that the Twisted Link is a great way to go. You know, if you're looking at a little bit more heavy duty application, the V-bar is always great. However, then you really do have to start worrying about your garage, your cement floors, all of that jazz. So these guys are just great as they're not too aggressive, but just aggressive enough to make sure that we get to our destination safely. Otherwise though, guys, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Titan Chain Snow Tire Chains with Twisted Link and cams here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.